How's everybody doing tonight?
Hi, Kate.
Hi, Sterling. If everyone wants to turn their cameras on, that's a panelist, which should include all of the new senators and some of the executive members. I know we're still waiting on a few senators. We have already met quorum for Senate, so we'll still move forward on Senate. And if people trickle in a little later, that's totally okay. So we're going to begin with the Senate swearing in, since I am here and I will be administering the oath of office. For any of the senators who aren't here, you guys will, or they will be sworn in at the next session for Senate, and the next Senate president, who you guys will be electing today, will take care of that. So I'm just making sure that I've got all the senators moved up. It looks like I do for the new senators. Okie doke. So we're gonna begin with the Senate swearing in. Senate Clerk Nagra is making sure that she's taking roll right now, and so she'll just write down everyone that we have here so we can mark off that you guys are sworn in. So super exciting. I do want to preface this to say that there are a couple other things that we'll take care of tonight related to the Senate president election, and then President Palmer will come in related to the executive swearing in, and an announcement about that. But in the meantime, what we do have ready is the Senate swearing in. So this is incredibly awkward. It's always super awkward over Zoom. I think some of the current senators or people who are current senators and also being sworn in today can attest to how horribly awkward it is. Regardless of whether or not I have you unmute yourselves or not mute yourselves. So it can be a free-for-all. If y'all want to unmute and repeat, that's totally fine. If you prefer not to, also totally fine. I promise there will be awkward silence or overlap either way. If all of the senators would like to raise your right hand with me. Okie doke. Okay, I see everyone. Yeah, and if everyone can come on camera, who any senators, if you aren't already. So you're gonna repeat after me. I promise it's not that long. Let me get this pulled up. I just accidentally started editing it. Perfect. Okay, repeat after me. I, insert name here.
I, Alexia Roberts.
I, Sophie Ches.
Pledge myself to uphold the Constitution.
Pledge myself to uphold the Constitution.
Of the Associated Students of Arizona State University.
Of the Associated Students of Arizona State University.
I like this popcorning stuff. That's not part of the oath. And the undergraduate student government bylaws.
And the
And to serve the student body to the best of my ability.
And to serve the student body to the best of my ability.
By applying my skills, my time, and my initiative.
By applying my skills, my time, and my initiative.
So help me. Perfect. Well, you guys are all sworn in. A wonderfully awkward Zoom round of applause. Woo! I would love to see some little celebration, like, emoji thingies, how y'all can do that. Let's throw some of those up. I know it's incredibly awkward. It's way more fun when you're all together and you can like clap and stuff. But it happens. But super big congratulations to all of these senators. It is going to be a wonderful year. President Palmer, is your internet working regarding the executive inauguration? I know it wasn't earlier, but you're Jacqueline? Nope. Still need a minute. Okay. Sorry, we're working on some stuff related to the executive inauguration. We had some last minute stuff come up. Give me 1 second. I think we might be mixing up the agenda a bit and moving forward with the Senate President election first, but I want to confirm that just before I say that officially. Sorry, some things got a little bit off schedule. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so while President Palmer fixes her audio and figures that out, we will move forward with the Senate President election first. So if anyone is here related to the executive inauguration, if you guys want to like come back a couple in, like 10-15 minutes, just to make sure that you're here before. I know that this is a little bit off schedule. We were hoping to do that first. So I apologize for the inconvenience, but you're also obviously more than welcome to stay on and join us for the Senate President election. So basically, for all of the new senators, I know that this is a lot for your first meeting, but basically what's going to happen today is you guys, I know I've emailed you all about this, but you will be electing the next Senate President. So they'll be filling the role that I currently have, which is the role of the Senate President. You'll be hearing presentations. I know I'm just reiterating a lot of stuff from the email, but you'll be hearing presentations from two candidates. Both of them are here today, Senator Anbar and Senator Huerta. Basically what will happen is they will each give a presentation. So Senator Anbar will be going first. He'll give a presentation for 5 minutes related to his candidacy. Then you guys will be able to ask Senator Anbar questions for another 5 minutes. And the same thing will happen with Senator Huerta. And then both candidates will leave. You will be able to open up the floor to discuss the candidates, and then we'll have a voting period. So while Senator Anbar is presenting, Senator Huerta will exit the meeting. And then while Senator Huerta is presenting, Senator Anbar will exit, and they will not be present for discussion, but will be present for voting. And basically, you guys, just make sure to pay attention to the presentations. This person will be leading you next year, so it's important to pay attention. I know it's a lot. It's one of those weird things about Senate where you have to elect one during your first meeting in the bylaws. So it's one of those things, but there will be ample opportunity for you all to get to know the candidates. So I definitely recommend that you pay attention. So what we're going to do now is Senator Anbar should be able to screen share, and then Senator Huerta, I know Jyoti was messaging earlier, so if you want to leave the meeting, and then Jyoti will text you when you need to come back. But in the meantime, Senator Anbar, you should be able to screen share your presentation, and then I'll time it, and I'll give you a 1-minute warning and a 30-second, and then a 10-second countdown. But you'll obviously be able to finish your sentence.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Kate. So hi, everyone. Thanks so much for coming out today. My name's Nate Anbar, and I'm running to be your next Senate President. First, just a little bit about me. I'm a junior studying chemical engineering and political science. I spent the last year as a senator for the Fulton Schools and also the USG Appropriations Chair. I'm involved in a lot of renewable energy research. I'm also a co-founder of the Jewish Cultural Coalition, which was created just this past semester. So I want to kind of explain a little bit of why I'm running for this position and why I think I would be a good fit for this position. So I've been a proven leader in USG with a passion for advocacy and the dedication necessary to make the Senate work. That's kind of my running tagline for this election, but I want to explain all of that a little bit more. So I've worked on the USG Appropriations Committee this past year on some really groundbreaking stuff that has a lot of direct importance for our constituents, for our students, and I'm hoping to bring that same kind of zeal and advocacy to the office of the Senate President. So some of what we've been able to accomplish, we've redirected hundreds of thousands of dollars into programs that would directly benefit students, lighting initiatives for making campus safer, the Student Crisis Fund for helping students who are affected by COVID, and numerous other programs like that. And so I really, the reason I got involved in USG in the first place was to really make campus better for students, make the student experience better. And I've had the privilege of being able to do that as part of the Appropriations Committee. We did a really great job this past year, and so I'm hoping to take that momentum forward into the next year and helping all of you realize your goals for improving the student experience. So with that said, I do have 3 priorities for next year that if I have the privilege to lead the Senate, I will emphasize more than anything else. Being in USG, I've seen both a lot of what we do well and a lot of what we don't do well. And I think these are 3 areas where we really need to focus on. So those 3 areas are visibility, accountability, and inclusion. And they all kind of play into each other, but I have some very specific things that I want to accomplish related to each of these points for the following year. So for visibility, trying to keep USG visible during a pandemic was really hard because with nobody on campus, or very few students on campus, it's very easy for everybody to have gotten disconnected. And when I came into the Senate last year, I sort of like hit the ground running with some ideas for how to make USG more visible. And we weren't able to do all of those because of the situation with the pandemic. But what I really want to emphasize going forward is reinstating Senate tabling for each college, which absolutely will be critical and will finally be possible with more and more students being vaccinated. We also need to really improve the system for Senate office hours. We all have office hours. We had office hours this past year, but not a lot of people went to those. They weren't very widely advertised. So we absolutely need to advertise those so that students will be more able to see like what their senators are doing and actually get to know their senators. I think that's absolutely important. We also need to administer regular student surveys, continue improving the USG-T website. We could hold some Instagram takeovers for the Senate. I think that would be a great way to gin up, student visibility for USG. And then also I'm hoping to work with other executives to create and circulate a USG newsletter. For accountability, I think we absolutely need to have some town halls to hear from students and really emphasize that kind of accountability where they're able to actually talk to us, kind of hold us accountable in a public forum. We also need to make sure our SDLC and COC partners are being actively assisted. That's super important. Improving the appropriations process. And then most importantly, helping all of you actualize your campaign platforms. My accountability to you is that I will organize individual one-on-one meetings with each and every one of you over the coming weeks if I am elected. And finally, inclusion. I want to hold specific appropriations trainings with COC groups and other similar groups, and then organize meetings between senators and student organizations to help craft legislation that would be specifically beneficial to those groups. And I think bridging that gap between USG and all of these groups is one of the most important things that we can do as a body. So with that, if I'm elected Senate President, I'll leverage the opportunities brought about from being newly in person to dramatically increase the visibility, accountability, and inclusion of USG. I look forward to helping each and every one of you achieve your goals, and I would be honored to have your support. And with that, I will take any questions that you have.
All right, thank you, Senator Umbar. Like Senator Umbar just said, we will now open up the floor for questions. So if anyone does have a question that they would like to ask the candidate, please raise your hand. I definitely recommend using this opportunity to get to know candidates a bit better since obviously we're not in person and you're not able to talk with one another as readily. So I definitely recommend if you have any questions, please ask them. Okay, Senator, I'm totally gonna butcher your last name. Is it Zade? I know.
Yeah, actually, that was good. So thank you. But first of all, thank you for presenting to us. Just a quick question I had was, what would you say are some of your more immediate goals that you would like to see accomplished as we enter this school year?
Thank you, Senator Zade. I think my most immediate goal that I would want to accomplish is, building on what we did with the appropriations process this past year. We were able to reform the process so that student requests were all seen within at least 3 weeks and processed within at least 3 weeks. I'd like to see that window get even shorter, down to maybe 2 weeks or 1 week that we can turn around requests. And I'd also like to see more input from different cultural groups in the COC and more efforts to work with them in terms of streamlining that process so that they know, kind of what the process is, like what needs to be done. I worked pretty extensively as appropriations chair with a lot of these groups this year to help them. And I think institutionalizing that kind of support is absolutely critical.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, I have Senator Goldschmidt.
Thank you, Senator President Hostel, and thank you, Senator Ambar, for your presentation. So this semester ended with the proposition of some controversial legislation that divided the Senate body and created a tension that halted all productivity in our last meeting of the semester. How do you plan to ensure that divisive legislation and sentiment doesn't happen again this year?
Well, it's a great question, Senator Goldschmidt, and I think I have kind of a two-pronged answer. First of all, I want to have a very close relationship with the Senate as a body and with each one of you, so that we can kind of create a sense of collegiality, all work together to make sure that legislation that we're passing is really inclusive and supporting all of our students. And I think having that like kind of close relationship, that networking between myself and all the senators and working to foster that between all of the senators will make that kind of dialogue much more possible and probably hinder the possibility of having too much divisive legislation. The other thing that I would want to do is probably look at the bylaws and see where we can pass some bylaw amendments that would potentially preclude the Senate from dealing with topics that aren't beneficial specifically to students or that are not inclusive to all of our students.
Thank you, Senator Ambar.
All right. That was all of the hands that I see raised right now, but we still have a few more minutes allotted for the question and answer session. Okay, Senator Groff.
Hi, thank you. Again, yeah, thank you for presenting to us. My question for you is, since, we as a Senate act as a sort of, a connection between the students and the administration in a lot of ways, what will be your, I guess, sort of approach to communicating with administration and communicating what we'd like to get done with administration? I mean, on top of the resolutions and stuff that the Senate does, I guess sort of you personally with them as an advocate for what the Senate is proposing.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm really glad you asked that, actually. Obviously, with the administration, like we do have to always be civil with them. We do value those relationships, but I'm absolutely prepared to really push. I don't want to use the word fight because that sounds kind of divisive, but I really want to push on behalf of the Senate and our constituents for certain things and, really not give an inch. Like I'll absolutely be polite with them, but I'm going to tell it like it is. And if we're as a body united around something, I'm going to bring that to them and say, look, action needs to be taken. And if it's not taken here, then we may be taking some kind of action related to a petition or something like that to get things done. I'm absolutely willing to be, an activist as Senate President in that regard.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions for the candidate? Okay. I am not seeing any other hand raises, but I'll stall for the next couple of seconds and give a run-on sentence for y'all just in case. But otherwise, still not seeing anything. Otherwise, thank you so much, Senator Anbar, for your presentation. What will happen now is you can leave the Zoom room, and then Josie will text you once his presentation and questions are over. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kate, and thank you to the Senate. I will see you all soon.
And in the meantime, I believe President Palmer has a quick announcement before we get into Senator Huerta's presentation.
Hi, everyone. I apologize. This isn't the best news, but according to Article 3, USG-T inauguration, Section 1.6b, the Associated Students Chief Justice has to swear in the executives. And unfortunately, 5 minutes before the meeting, Chief Wambar came down sick, so she's not able to swear them in. So we've already emailed her. We're going to reschedule. We've already contacted the executives who are here. We just wanted to let you know that that swearing in isn't going to happen today, just because we want to make sure we are following the bylaws. Let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, President Palmer. That was what we were trying to work out earlier. But thank you, President Palmer. We appreciate the announcement, and to any members of the audience that were here for the executive swearing in, thank you so much for coming, and we will certainly keep you posted about when that will end up being. So in the meantime, Senator Huerta is here, and Senator Huerta, if you have a presentation, you are more than welcome to screen share. You'll have 5 minutes. I'll give you a 1-minute indicator, a 30-second indicator, and then I'll count down from 10. But I won't cut you off as long as you're still just finishing up the sentence when I hit 5 minutes. And then we'll move into questions.
Awesome, appreciate that, Senate President Hostel. I'll go ahead and share my screen real quick because I did create a little presentation. And yeah, let me get into present mode. Okay, can you guys all see it? Is it good? Perfect. Okay, I guess I'll just get started. First, I just want to say good evening and congratulations to all of you guys that were just sworn in. I just know it's a very exciting time, and I hope you guys really find the pleasure in this role as I did. Since I have now less than 5 minutes, just want to jump straight into it. Okay, cool. I just want to start off with why I'm running. So at the sake of sounding like a political insider, I do have USG-T experience that's pretty extensive. Whether serving as an intern or the Director of Diversity and Inclusion my freshman year, to now serving as a senator in the Government Operations Committee and really getting to know those bylaws that literally guide everything that we do, just as we just saw. But beyond that, USG hasn't been my entire college experience. In fact, my college experience has been defined by so many experiences outside of USG. I've been a student employee for 3 years, making below minimum wage as either a desk assistant or as a CA as I am now at Vista. I'm a first-generation college student. I've learned about leadership through the Tillman Scholar Program. Additionally, I've learned about what it means to really make good public policy in all stages of government, including USG, through the Arizona Senate Policy Internship I'm currently working at, or through the Public Policy and International Affairs program that I work with. And I've worked closely with the college councils, both inside my USG role and outside as a direct member of college councils. But beyond that, I also have 2 years of witnessing firsthand as a member the need for bold change and advocacy in USG-T. Due in part because of the never-ending bureaucratic nature of student politics, I really just want to help assist in navigating these tough changes and these tough bureaucratic nature of everything. I ran on a campaign of accountability, equity, sustainability, and student support, and I want to maintain my commitment to those. But I mean, that's enough about me because this position is really not about me. It's about you guys as a government body. So I do have ideas I want to share. The first being that I really want to strengthen internal USG-T relationships. This is something I've noticed that we needed to work on since 3 years ago as an intern. And I want to work closely with the executive branch, such as through items such as initiative roundtables with directors, making sure that we're not, repeating steps or getting in the way of each other, but rather bolstering each other up and reaching new heights together. I want to have proactive partnerships with the judicial branch, something that I haven't seen historically done in USG. And this comes directly from conversations with current Justice Shaki Bhatt, as we talked about the issues that have occurred within the past 2 years and how we could proactively resolve them. I want to have one-on-one meetings with you guys, with the senators, to ensure that not only are you guys being supported by me and your initiatives and by USG as a whole, but just to ensure that you guys are doing okay. I know that it's been a tough time for all of us. I want to make sure that I'm doing all I can to support you in every aspect. I would love to establish Senate priorities that are separate to COP priorities, just to help guide our work as a caucus in the kind of slower times, as I know there were a few sessions this past session where we had no legislation or anything active on the agenda. Additionally, I am open to letting senators serve on 2 committees if there is interest, and if senators are able to commit that time. Again, I want to see how much interest there is first, but that is something I'd be open to, as it's something I would have loved to do this year. Beyond that, I want to strengthen external USG-T relationships, because it's our external relationships that really define why we're here as the USG-T Senate. And through this, I want to continue to foster and mend relationships with the Council of Coalitions and with our Sun Devil Leadership Council partners. They're why we're here. They represent diverse groups of students of all walks of life, of all facets of life. With my experience as a USG-T Director of Diversity and Inclusion, I've worked personally with the Council of Coalitions, and those relationships are so important in establishing our trust as a senatorial body. I want to have open legislative roundtable discussions at the discretion of legislative sponsors to ensure that we get input from numerous groups of students, from the vested interests, from stakeholders who really care about what's going on. And I want to facilitate strengthened college council relationships, because just working as a senator and as a director in my own college council, I know that it just really helps elevate the position to something that's so much more meaningful. And lastly, I want to make some noise. I want open communication with the state press. I don't want you guys to have to go through me for permission to talk freely. I I would love if you guys talk to me about what's going on, but I want to help bolster that advocacy with the state press directly. I want to work with the PR department to ensure that we have legislation and initiative updates on our social media or any other avenues to let students know that, no, we're doing stuff, we're working actively. And having worked on the government operations committee this past year, I now know that you can mandate transparency through our bylaw amendments. And I think that would be super important and crucial to everything that we do. In addition, I just think making that noise is what really keeps administration accountable in everything we do, because what happens behind closed doors only we know and ASU administration knows. So to help navigate that bureaucracy, I want to make that noise, let students know that we are fighting on behalf of them, on behalf of our diverse students. So why I'm running, essentially summed up in 4 points. I'm running to uplift and amplify the voices of the Senate body and diverse groups of constituents. I'm running to translate my skills both within USG and beyond USG into supportive guiding role to take bold transformative actions. And because at the end of the day, it's not about me, as I mentioned earlier, it's about us as a Senate body and it's about us as a student body. So yeah, thank you. And regardless of position, I look forward to having an amazing year with each of you.
All right. Thank you, Senator Huerta. Just like before, you guys will be able now to ask the candidate any questions that you have. And again, I encourage you all to use this opportunity to really get to know the candidate, since we are obviously online. So it's a little bit harder to get to know people than it otherwise would be. With that said, the floor is open for questions, and you will all be receiving an email soon with the voting link. So make sure not to open that or vote until after the questions and discussion period are over. We're just sending it a little early to make sure you all have it. Just a heads up, just don't open that right now. So if anyone has any questions for the candidate, feel free to raise your hand and we will begin the question and answer session. All right, Senator Goldschmidt.
Thank you, Senate President Hospital, and thank you, Senator Huerta, for your presentation. So this semester ended with the proposition of controversial legislation that divided the Senate body and created a tension that halted productivity in our last Senate meeting of the year. How do you plan to ensure that divisive legislation and sentiments don't happen again this year?
Yeah, I mentioned that through our transparent legislation drafting with sponsors. I want to hold these open legislative roundtables so we can work with stakeholders and various groups of students from various walks of life. And additionally, in that contentious time, I had people reach out to me saying like they had no idea this legislation was coming up because they might not be a part of student groups that are working on this legislation. So I want to open this up to the student body as well in these roundtables. Post on social media like, hey, we're having a roundtable to discuss student workers, or we're having a roundtable to discuss the care center. Just really working in a transparent manner to ensure that legislation is encompassing of USG priorities, of USG jurisdiction, and of the students' wishes, desires, and needs.
Thank you, Senator Huerta.
Thank you.
All right, up next, I have Senator Zade and then Senator Brown afterwards.
Thank you for the presentation, Senator Huerta. Great job. Similar as the last question that I posed for the candidate, again, what are your more immediate and I guess heightened concerns leading into the fall semester?
Of course, something that I've worked on extensively throughout this past year, beyond just the bylaws, which are pretty USG centric. The number one priority for me, as having worked as a student worker for 3 years, I understand that I'm not the only student worker. We hire thousands of student workers throughout the entire Tempe campus who are being mistreated by their supervisors or who are making below minimum wage, even years after it's been increased to $12. So I really want to work on establishing that priority of supporting our student workers, as they are some of our most vulnerable students on campus. And additionally, just working on that equity component of my platform and helping the executives and all the other branches of student government help support the creation and the implementation of a care center on campus, working with Sun Devils against sexual assault, and that multicultural center that I know means so much to so many groups of students, and just really uplifting those voices in any way that I can, and working with you guys through all of that as well.
Thank you so much.
And Senator Brown.
Thank you, Chair. So, Senator Huerta, I just had a question. What do your first 2 weeks look like if you were elected in the position? Like, just a summary, what tasks would you prioritize to get done in 2 weeks?
Yeah, so I think the first 2 weeks, obviously getting everything together in terms of establishing our Senate leadership with chairs, with a president pro tempore, which would be necessary to continue the rest of our work. Additionally, I want to work on creating those Senate priorities in an open manner with each of you guys and with the student body to ensure that we're getting student input, because we were elected by our constituents to uphold our promises by our constituents. So I want to work with all of you guys and with our stakeholders and with our students to create those Senate priorities to navigate and sort of framework what the rest of our years will look like in those first 2 weeks, and even beyond that, however long it may take. But my first 2 weeks will be really set up to establishing an amazing, strong rest of our academic session.
Thank you.
All right, Senator Joshi.
Hi, thank you, Senator Huerta, right? Am I saying that right?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Similar to the question that Senator Goldschmidt had, I just want to know, what are your plans to improve cohesion within just the Senate body? So that also means senators on other campuses and the Tempe campus.
Of course. Taking that in two parts, within the Tempe campus, having worked in USG for 2 years now, I know that it's going to be extremely difficult, and it has been extremely difficult to build that cohesion as a Senate body, but I think that cohesion can really help uplift our work. So I think both our priorities that we establish as a Senate caucus will help really guide our work as we continue to go on, and helping navigate that return to campus as, you know, we begin to see each other beyond just these two inch squares on our screen. I think would be crucial to just helping ensure that everything we do together as a cohesive body, even though there will be contention at times, because by nature of politics and by nature of this role, there will be contention. But just ensuring that we maintain that respect of each other and ensuring that we maintain that open dialogue between each other. And onto that second part of that question of how I would work with other USG bodies, yes, I understand that there are the 4 campuses, and I understand that there's also that push for there to be an ASU online USG, which I'd love to help support. But it's just, you know, that maintaining that constant communication in our Senate leadership meetings with our chairs, and having that networking with the 4 Senate presidents among all campuses, and having the chairs work together. I know our past Senate worked amazingly to help update the bylaw amendments and the elections code during this past legislative cycle. So just using our continued practices of that open communication between numerous bodies and between our Senate leadership, and ensuring that information trickles down to the rest of our body as well.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay. Well then, thank you so much to the candidate, Senator Huerta, for your presentation. What we will do now is move into the discussion period for the Senate to discuss the candidates. And so as before, Jyoti will text you when you're able to come back in. So yeah, we will definitely let you know. And for the Senate, basically what will happen now is you guys are able to discuss the candidates. You're more than welcome to sort of like express your thoughts or feelings on certain candidates. This is kind of just like a free session where you're able to talk with one another about this. We will have a speaking order. You guys will learn a lot more about Robert's Rules of Order and speaking orders and Senate meeting protocol throughout the year, but I will not bother lecturing y'all on that just yet. The next Senate president can do that. But if you could raise your hand, and basically what will happen is you'll be able to speak. And then when you're done, you can just say like, I yield my time. And then we'll go through the list of people who want to speak until everyone is done. So if you are interested in addressing the Senate and discussing the candidates, please raise your hand. And obviously if something comes up and you want to raise your hand a little bit later, but didn't anticipate raising your hand right now, also totally fine. So it looks like Senator Mansfield wants to begin. So Senator Mansfield, you have the floor.
All righty, great. Well, so I'd just like to preface this by saying that I've known Marco, Senator Huerta and Senator Ambar. I've known both of them throughout this entire legislative session for the Senate. And I can vouch for both of them. Both are very good leaders, both have very great ideas for how to improve USG and the Senate in general. Personally, I'm kind of leaning towards Marco at the moment, and I can't really voice a reason to that. I just, I think he definitely addressed a lot of his stuff and a lot of his priorities in more detail, but I'm looking forward to the discussion. I just want you guys to know that I believe that both, having experience with them personally, I believe that they're both very good choices. So.
All right, up
and I
next.
yield the time.
Yes, thank you, Senator Mansfield. Up next, I see Senator Grau has their hand raised.
Yes, thank you. I personally, right now, I'm also leaning toward Senator Huerta because, so when Senator Anbar talked, I asked him specifically about how he is planning to interact with administration and such. And the reason I didn't ask that of Senator Huerta is because I felt like he addressed it up front, which was a really big thing to me. And also just his idea about being very proactive in being communicative and open with the student body through the state press and through just social media and stuff. That's something that I've been planning to do as a senator for Herberger already. And so the fact that he is also on board with that, for me anyway, is a really big thing. I yield my time.
All right, thank you. Senator Joshi, did you have your hand up still or no?
No, I took it down. I'll text you first. Ask
okay.
Ask this question.
If you have a question, you can do a point of information if you'd like. You'll learn a little bit more about that once you do Robert's Rules of Order training, but I'll answer your message as well. Does anyone else have anything that they want to share prior to going into voting? You're more than welcome to voice like anything that you want. You'll have this opportunity to discuss with one another. So if you have anything that you'd like to share, make sure to raise your hand. But okay, Senator Goldschmidt.
Thank you. Senate President Hostel, can you give us your opinion of both the candidates?
Sure, yeah. So I won't obviously say, who if I won't endorse any candidate. But I'm happy to kind of give sort of an informational background. So obviously I've worked with both candidates for this entire past year, with Senator Anbar as the co-chair of appropriations and Senator Huerta as an active member of the government operations team. My experience with both of them has honestly been really pleasant. Senator Anbar is very organized and rules oriented, and very quick to respond to things. And Senator Huerta always comes to meetings with creativity and a drive that I very consistently see from him. So both candidates, honestly, I think will serve the Senate really well. The only other important piece of information that I know is sometimes shared by other e-boards is Senator Huerta did reach out to me and ask to meet with me about the position, and Senator Anbar didn't. So just for informational purposes, I know that that's something that's oftentimes shared in sort of election cycles, but both candidates will serve the Senate well, and I'm confident in that. They just have different leadership styles.
Thank you. I yield my time.
All right. Does anyone else have anything that they want to share or ask? Senator Grau.
Just one more thing I wanted to bring up. I know that during the question and answer session, Senator Anbar mentioned something in response to the question about contention over legislation, something about putting something in the bylaws about being precluded from discussing legislation that wasn't inclusive of everybody. And while I do think that it is very important to pass legislation that is very inclusive of everyone, that is one of my top priorities as well. I don't know that having that sort of preclusion in the bylaws is, and again, this is my first time in Senate. So if somebody else would like to, has something to say about what I'm saying and I'm incorrect about this, it just makes me a little bit nervous having something saying like, we won't hear any sort of legislation because something might be really important to one group and might be exclusive to another group. And I think that is a discussion that we need to have rather than just saying, shut this down immediately because we have decided that this isn't important, sort of thing. And maybe that's not what he meant at all. I will say that it just, I don't know. It was something that interested me about what he said.
All right. Perfect. Y'all will get the hang of it. I still don't have the hang of saying yield my time, honestly. I've been doing this for 2 years. Up next, I have Senator Koltoff. I think I'm saying that correctly. If I'm not, please let me know. And then Senator Joshi, and then Senator Mansfield. So that's the order right now. So Senator Koltoff, you.
Yeah, so that was perfect actually. So something that I kind of want to speak about is Senator Ambar. He wasn't reelected, so I feel like he's kind of like got the Senate president as the thing he can do, where Huerta can still voice his concern as a general Senate member since he was reelected this year. So it's in my mind, the Ambar as the Senate president can still give Huerta he can still instill positive change as a general member of the Senate as well. I yield my time.
All right, Senator Joshi.
Yeah, so I just wanted to quickly talk about Senator Anbar also. Senator Goldschmidt brought up the question about like contention and division like within the Senate. And specifically actually during the last Senate meeting, there was kind of a controversial sentiment put out there by Senator Anbar that I think did create some division within the Senate and like did attack some senators for their decisions. So based off of that, like my integrity and trust in Senator Anbar is still a little like it's wavering. And I know that Senator Huerta I've worked with personally, and he's just super energetic all the time. Like he's a great person to have around. But I think that Senator Anbar is also really passionate about the issues that are brought forth to him. He's a great advocate on like the council that he works with. So I don't know if that really gives anybody any insight into the candidates, but I just wanted to let you guys know that that's kind of what I heard and how I feel about both of the candidates.
All right, Senator Mansfield and then Senator Zade.
So I just wanted to shed some light on what Lydia asked Senator Bra. So basically what that was about is Nate, Senator Anbar, sorry, very informal. Senator Anbar had written a piece of legislation, basically as a bylaw amendment, in order to not allow, like the basic premise is that it wouldn't allow pieces of legislation that immediately dealt with international concerns outside of USG's purview, outside of USG's jurisdiction, to be heard from the Senate, and it would instead redirect those to conversations with the administration about what the administration can do, just as kind of a precaution to help with what happened last session, so that it doesn't happen again. But any bylaw amendment, anything like that, has to be passed by us as a majority vote. So that could be something that he wants to continue as a priority, but the legislation would be introduced by one of us, and we would have a vote on it and discussion about it and stuff. And so it's something that is really up to us. It's not up to him. But I think he was just voicing that was one of his priorities, considering what happened last time. And if you weren't aware, there was a controversial piece of legislation that Kate determined that it wasn't part of USG's jurisdiction, so it wasn't heard on the floor. And some members of the Senate chose not to attend in light of that. And so we didn't have a enough people to continue with our legislative session that day. I yield my time.
All right, and then the last person I have with their hand raised is Senator Zade.
Thank you so much. So I, of course, I'm a new senator for this upcoming year, and I have not personally worked with either Senator Huerta or Senator Anbar, but in my candidacy, I do have something positive to say. In a very brief experience that I had with Senator Huerta, and it was kind of evident, I think, in his presentation that he is very big on outreach. And I know that Senator Hostel earlier had mentioned that he does take initiative to outreach, hence why the two of them had a conversation and a productive one. And I actually had a similar conversation with him as well, leading up to the tail end of the race. And I definitely got the feeling for sure that outreach and hearing the voices of just the general student population, as well as also just making people feel heard, and also voicing himself and creating that effective dialogue that I think is needed. And from what I've heard about some potential divisiveness inside the Senate regarding certain topics and legislations and whatnot, I think that effective communication is very important and most aspects, anywhere, even outside of Senate or whatnot. And I think he exemplifies that quite well, again, just from the brief experience that I've had with him. I yield my time.
All right. I don't see any other hands raised, but before we exhaust the speaking list and move into voting, I just want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to raise their hand and share if they would like. So feel free to do so if you would like to speak, but if not, at the end of another long run-on sentence where I try to give you all time to raise your hand if you need to, we will exhaust the speakers list, call the candidates back, and then move into voting. All right. I'm not seeing any other hands, so I think it's appropriate now to dispense with the discussion period and move into voting. So Jyoti, if you could text the candidates to come back in, and you all should have received the voting link. So if you could cast your ballot, everyone should only be able to vote once. If you do not have access to the voting link, please just unmute yourself because I'm looking at that, not my screen right now. And then I will, once all 17 senators have voted, I will release the tally of the votes and the name of the candidate who won. I've got 8 responses so far, 9.
I don't think I have access to the voting link.
Oh, okay. Okay, here, let me make sure. The email, it should be in your email. I know you came in so check, if you want to check there, Jyoti should have sent an email to you. If you still can't find it, let me know. And then we'll also swear you and Senator Hohu, I don't want to mispronounce your name. We'll swear you two in just a second, since I know we were a little bit behind on that one. So we'll swear you two in, don't worry. But we'll do that after. We're able to find a link.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Amazing. Okay, I've got 13 responses, so I believe we're waiting on 4 more. $15 responses, 16. All right. It looks like all 17 votes are in. So let me make sure that, okay, let me pull that up real quick. Whoop. Okay, looks like all 17 votes are in. Jyoti, Elizabeth, are you guys seeing the same thing, that all 17 are in?
Yes, I'm just cross-checking that we have everyone who voted, just to make sure.
Yeah, let's do that super quick. The awkward silences are so much worse over Zoom.
It's all in, Kate. I just double checked, so you're good to go.
Okie doke. By a margin of 11 to 6 to 0, Marco Huerta is your next Senate President.
Awesome. Can I speak real quick?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm like, no, not allowed. No, of course you can.
Awesome. So glad to hear that. And I just want to thank you guys all much for putting your faith and trust in me. And I look forward to an amazing year and an amazing next 2 weeks that I was asked about, of course, too. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations. Yeah, lots of clapping, right? Well then, thank you guys for coming out tonight. I know things didn't go quite as planned with the Chief Justice being sick and unable to administer the executive oath, but you are in good hands, and I'm sure you'll have a wonderful year. In the meantime, let's super quickly swear in our 2 other senators. Since we had switched around the beginning, I know that knocked a couple people off the rocker a bit, me included. So Senator Hohu and Porche, if you want to raise your hand. So sorry if I mispronounced your names. But if you want to raise your right hand. It's always a little awkward. We went through this with the other senators. You can unmute yourself if you want. It's awkward either way, whether or not you're like talking over each other or just me staring silently while I read your lips to make sure you finish. So whatever floats your boat. But if you could raise your right hand. I, insert name here.
I, Rachel Porche,
Pledge myself to uphold the Constitution
pledge myself to uphold the Constitution
of the Associated Students of Arizona State University
of the Associated Students of Arizona State University
and the undergraduate student bylaws,
and the undergraduate student bylaws,
and to serve the student body to the best of my ability,
and to serve the student body to the best of my ability,
by applying my skills, my time, and my initiative.
by applying my skills, my time, and my initiatives.
So help me.
So help me.
Awesome. Another round of applause for our lovely senators. Congratulations to all of you guys. I'm really excited to see where you're able to take the Senate next year. You guys will officially take office at the first week of May. So just a heads up, that's when like the official date is. And then Senate President Huerta will take over from there and get you guys started over, into your new terms as senators. So a big congratulations for a job well done. I'm very excited to see what you all can do, and you are all more than welcome to leave and go eat your dinner, hang out, celebrate, but thank you for all of your hard work. And if you need me, you have my email in the meantime. So congratulations, guys.
Thank you, Kate. Have a great week. Have a great weekend, everyone. It's Tuesday.
I wish it were the weekend.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for a great year, Kate. It's been awesome.
Thank you for all that you did.